Hi, welcome back to another episode of Aviation Champions. I'm your host, Miranda Gahn, co-founder of Lex Aero Aviation Law Firm. This morning I have the pleasure to introduce Todd Riemenschneider. He's the founder and CEO of QRJets. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, Miranda. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being on the show. So please tell our audience a little bit about QRJets.
QRJets is a boutique, independent, on-demand charter broker. Essentially, we can help you with any size jet, anywhere in the world at any time. We do all this on a contract-by-contract basis, so there's nothing that has to be paid for upfront. We're really focused on personal relationships. We prefer a relationship over volume. And by doing that, we're able to provide better service to our clients as we move forward and learn more about how they fly.
Wow. Well, I like that. So folks can call you and they can make arrangements for private aviation, and you provide and ensure, smooth and enjoyable travel. So you're kind of like a travel concierge with private aviation. Does that sound right?
That's exactly correct. When people call us, they simply tell us what their mission is, so where they're going, how many are traveling, and the dates that they're going to travel. We'll then reach out to our partners and come back to them and show them all the results that we get back. That could be everything from a light jet up to a heavy jet. And about half of our business comes from flying college and professional teams, so we can even step up to an airliner.
Okay.
From that point, we help them select the jet based upon what their needs are. Some people are okay with a light jet in a smaller cabin. Some people want the ability to stand up. It all depends on what the client wants. From there, we walk through them on how to get to the airport, the FBOs, if there's any challenges, that we foresee just based upon our experience. We try to let them know that. With our professional teams, it's always each FBO has a different idea of how we're going to get the team buses by the plane and the equipment vans. So we do that all on the front end in coordination with the ops side on our professional teams, because the last thing they want to do is waste time when they're finished with a match.
Sure.
And trying to get onto the plane because they're ready to go home.
Yeah. So what do you think would be one of the biggest misconceptions for someone who maybe has little to no experience with private aviation would be about your business or your industry?
With us, the biggest misconception is really the value of the broker, and that is
Okay.
changing. That is changing with the proliferation of online portals, and of course with AI coming. Um, Really, when you're flying private, it's not about the airplane. It's really about the experience, and that's what we're trying to really hone and get with our customers is the experience. By knowing the client, we know the operator, and we know the procedures that are going in and out of those things. So we really try to we really try to work hard on honing that in to make sure that if something does happen, and this is where I kind of get worried about when people are going online, there's a lot of bad information out there. There's a
Sure.
lot of data points. You've got, disparate data sources that everything's aggregating. Um, Sometimes you're going to see quotes that are going to come to you, but when it comes down to signing the contract, you're going to see everything escalated. Our quotes are all inclusive, so you know what's coming at you, and there's no back charges going on. Um, so what we try to do is essentially we try to be reliable to the point of invisibility because of our experience. We
Sure.
try to keep the client from being surprised, and sometimes things are going to happen that are unforeseen, and then we're able to walk the client through that. That's where I get concerned about what people don't understand about what a broker does is if you're booking it online, who are you going to call?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think too, just based on previous conversations that we've had, and then experiences in aviation that maybe aren't widely known potentially to the audience, is that a lot of things can happen with aviation. And of course, a lot of people have experience flying commercially, and some of those coordination efforts are transparent to people who fly commercial. But when you're flying privately, there's a lot of factors that have to be considered. And it sounds like you've been doing this long enough that you have that knowledge, that expertise, that you can provide that bespoke customer service to your clients that maybe you wouldn't get if you were booking using AI. So, I think we recently talked about a client that you had that experienced some travel delay, and you were there to address it carefully. Whereas if you're booking online, perhaps with an AI tool or computer generated tool, may not have been such a great experience.
You're exactly correct, because even as long as we've been doing this, you can still be surprised by things as they move forward. And last week was a prime example. It is the first time that we've ever ran into having to land where Air Force One is landing. And so we had a trip booked for a few months with one of our regular clients. Supposed to depart at 11 a.m. Central Time and head into Las Vegas. And on Monday, we got the call that there was a temporary flight restriction, or TFR, as we say in the industry, that from Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, nobody could land at the actual airport.
Sure.
So we get back with the client. Client's like, okay, we can leave later. Well, we get to Wednesday and we hit Wednesday, and then the TFR kind of starts sliding both directions. First, they thought they were going to lift it early so we could leave earlier. Ends up we ended up leaving 2 hours later. Still in communication with the client. Client is still fine with all of this, but of course, in the charter world, pilot has a 14-hour duty day. And so at that point, I start worrying about, do we have a duty day problem coming up to where the pilot can't fly? And so we start asking the operator for that. We realize that we've got until 8:15 Central Time PM to take off. Communicated that all with the client, communicated that all with the operator, and we went off without a hitch. And we got in there, and the TFR was lifted at 4:30 Pacific Time, and we got to take off at about the right time that we were able to take off at the time that we forecasted for the final 9.
Oh, that's great. Well, and I would say that's a perfect example of the type of service that you provide your clients. So tell us, what are the goals then and objectives for your business as you move forward? What do you think is next for QRJets?
Our goals and objectives are just to continue to build out our database and our client list. And it's really, we do it more hands-on. We don't have a $300 million budget like some of the bigger players do.
Sure.
And so we're very dependent on referrals. And the biggest thank you we can get is somebody that says, call QRJets. We compete with some membership organizations and things like that. Our client base is probably 50% individuals and corporations, and then 50% team travel. Within the membership organizations, we have some of those that float back to us because we call them membership refugees. Some people like the events that are put on by the bigger players. Some people just want to fly. Our goal is to focus on flying. Some people love those perks, other people don't. We'd rather spend time getting to know you, planning your trip and your flight than planning events.
Well, and as long as you've been in business, I'm curious to know, either personal career-wise or as a business owner-wise, what do you think has been your greatest challenge, or what is something that you've learned the most from?
The greatest challenge is always going to be trying to find new clients. I always tell people that the QRJets sells jet charters, but our job is actually prospecting.
Okay.
And so that's always a challenge, trying to find those clients. In today's world, it's really not even the competition that we have, nor is it access to aircraft, nor is it demand. It's commoditization of what's going on in the industry. And that, again, leans back to what we've already spoke about, is the internet is a great resource to get information, but is it correct? And then
Sure.
that takes the next step of where, the industry, like everything, is moving towards AI. So AI right now can do a great job of saying, hey, I need to fly from Dallas to New York City on these dates, and here's a price. But it's not accurate. AI is only as accurate as the data that's being fed in to train it.
Sure.
And everybody in this industry, it's an extremely competitive industry, and people are not going to put their data into what I would call a global AI model to try to build out something that everybody can use, because you're giving your competitive edge away to somebody else to use it.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
And even if somebody in the future gets to the point that they convince everybody to pursue this AI model to really start increasing their margins, my bigger question is when you feed this AI model with all these other people, is who actually owns that data? If you've got 1,000 people putting data into it, who actually owns the data as it moves forward?
Well, and I think more importantly, you bring up some interesting points, but I think one of the things that you said earlier in the interview that really resonated with me is, who are you going to call when something doesn't go well? And, when things are not going well, especially when it comes to travel, people really value the opportunity to call and talk to a person, someone who's truly invested in resolving the matter. So, to me, that says it all. But, Todd, if people are interested in working with you, how can they find you? Where's QRJets? What's the best place to look?
The best way to contact us is simply to go through our website, QRJets.com. So that's Quebec Romeo, JETS.com. And you can hit info at if you want to request a quote. All of our quotes are complimentary with no obligation. And if you just have questions, our telephone number's on there as well. We immediately try to respond back as quickly as we can to anything that comes through any channel. So when you come through our website, you're going to get a response. It's not going to go into some black hole where you never hear back. So if you send it to info at QRJets, if you send it through the online portal that is our quote capture questions, or if you call us, you're going to talk to a person. And that's the big thing that we really built forward. And when we're getting people that are coming in from membership organizations, is like we've been talking about, we're very relationship based. And some of the things that have happened within the membership organizations is the account executive changes so often that they don't know who they're calling, and they feel like they're developing a relationship over and over and over again. And if that company's CRM is not accurate with what the client actually wants, that you built this relationship with somebody else, then what's the value of it?
Exactly. Well, you bring up some really great points. It was a pleasure learning more about your business and talking with you this morning, Todd. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Miranda, thank you very much, and we appreciate being able to appear.